the Jeep. So, yeah. I guess this is a fair time. Do people want to hear a story of one thing that I did that was a mistake in life? It's okay. My family forgave me, but anytime you talk about a car on fire, it gets an honorable mention. Okay, it's story time now. Once upon a time, there was a young Neuro. And young Neuro went to an academy for ambitious and gifted and talented children to go to university early. And he did his first year at university, and it was splendid. And he also wanted to get some SAT scores. So he went back to his old high school with his friends, because if he's going to go to a different university after, it's good to have an SAT score. So young Neuro went to the high school and hung out with some of his friends from high school from the years before. And they all took the SAT, and were generally pleased with each other that they completed this long and laborious examination. For those who don't know, SAT probably takes around 2 to 4 hours, depending on how fast you take it. I don't remember. It's a long test. So we finished this test, and Neuro Mom and Neuro Strong Dad live in France now. They're in France for Dad's work, doing stuff, and Nightmare, who is Neuro's brother, is also in France. And Neuro is in the United States by himself. And Neuro Strong Dad, in his infinite wisdom and generosity, said, "You know what, son? You can have my Jeep Wrangler. Certainly nothing bad could come of this, right?" So Neuro, being the good kid that he was, took his dad's Jeep Wrangler and was like, "Hey guys, do you want to go off-roading?" And certainly nothing bad could come from that, right? So in celebration, they all went off-roading together. They set out over the brambles and through the bushes and got stuck in the mud, and were very panicked and alarmed and scared. Like, oh crap, are we ruined? What do we do now? It's very expensive to tow things. This is a big problem. And then all of a sudden, from over the hill, came a very large construction vehicle. Just some people who were working on some construction nearby, and they saw this poor Jeep Wrangler that was trapped. And they said, "Are you guys in a problem?" And we were like, "What? Are you guys in?" And we were like, "I don't know what this guy's saying. Is this bad? Should we run? Are you guys need help out of there?" It's like, I think he's asking if we need help out of here. Yes, sir. We're stuck. Can you help us? "Yeah, my problem's man." We're like, this is tough. So he hooked a hook onto the front of the Jeep. It's a sturdy, rugged outdoor vehicle. It's kind of made for this kind of thing. And he pulled this Jeep straight out of the mud to safety on the grass. And it was like, wow, safe. We made it. Wow, we can do anything. This is a blessing. This is a sign. So we got out of this situation, and it was like, you know what? Do you guys want to take a crack at driving this? So I let my friends drive this motor vehicle, because it wasn't on the road, right? So it's like, certainly nothing bad could happen from this. And these young gentlemen, they didn't know how to drive stick shift, so the engine was revving super hot. You know how it goes up to like 2,000 RPMs or 8,000 RPMs? It was hot. And one of these young lads, he was driving over some what we call mesquite trees, which is kind of like a tree and a bush. It's like right in the middle, right between a tree and a bush. It's got some tree elements, has kind of a thick, sturdy trunk and thick branches. And yeah, I was just driving over those, and I was like, "Hey, don't do that. I think that's bad." And he's like, "No, it's fine." And he was driving over these mesquite trees, and there was one of them. He just drove over it, and it got stuck in the undercarriage. And we were like, "Uh-oh, it's stuck in the undercarriage. That's annoying. Oh, what should we do? Maybe we should pull it out." And then fire comes up through the stick shift, and it's like, that's not supposed to be there. Why is there fire coming out of this? And then we kind of looked at each other and we're like, are we doomed? Like, should we run? So we grabbed the MP3 player and the insurance and stuff, and we ran just as fast as we could. And then the whole vehicle just burst into flames and then exploded. was like an action movie sequence, except you realize that was your dad's vehicle, and that you're probably gonna have to call the fire department. But then the fire department called us, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on over there?" It's like everything went kaboom, and they're like, "All right, we're coming over." So they come over, and they're like, "Yep, that's toast." And we were like, "Yeah, we know it's toast." Well, it's gonna have to get towed, and they're gonna have to take it to the Jeep dealership to assess the damage. And I was like, seriously? The thing is like a pile of rubble and ash. So I'm in this tow truck. I'm in the cab with this guy, and it's like the ash and rubble of a Jeep is on the back. And this tow truck is wheeling this ash and rubble of a Jeep through the Jeep dealership, and there are other people who are browsing the Jeeps, and they're talking to the dealers about which Jeep to buy, and they see this thing roll through. Needless to say, it was not good for their business, and I did receive 3 condolences from the hardworking people at the Jeep dealership for what happened. So then I had to eventually, like the next day, I had to call Neuro Strong Dad, and I called him, and I was like, "Dad," and he was like, "Hey son, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Dad, not right now. You know the Jeep?" And he was like, "Yep, that's a good vehicle. Nice sturdy thing, very robust." And I was like, "Dad, it's about that. It's not as robust as we thought, and it's gone." And he's like, "What do you mean it's gone? Did you run into something?" "No, Dad. It's gone. It combusted. It's ash." He's like, "How much is it gonna cost to fix it?" It's like, "No, Dad. You don't understand. It's toast. It's actually toast." He's like, "We're gonna send some insurance people out and see. Let's see what it is." Then the next day, the insurance guy calls my dad, and he's just laughing. He's like, "You actually sent me out here to assess this? It's a pile of ash. There's nothing Jeep left about this. It's just the remnants of something that might have been a vehicle in the past." It was gone. So I was without a motor vehicle for some time, and I deserved it, you know? So don't let your friends drive your dad's Jeep over mesquite trees. I guess that's the life lesson here. So I was not a perfect child. I made mistakes. And I was forgiven for the most part, but anytime there's a burning vehicle that's brought up in conversation, I'm reminded. To the end of my days. Did insurance pay anything? Yes, I think so, but the thing with insurance paying is it also jacks up your rates. So it was not a equitable situation for the family. Not everything. Neuro Strong Dad is here. The most gracious father who could have cast me to the forest, but he said, "You know what? What you did was very stupid, but I'm still your dad." Press F to pay your respects for the Jeep Wrangler who no longer exists. It is but a pile of heap and metal and ash upon the floor. Bet you never made that mistake again. Yeah. Well, there's your Neuro story time for the day. It's a true story. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit. But I survived. I did not sustain burn wounds, but the Jeep definitely did. Later, Hollow. At least you saved your MP3 player, right? Cool story, bro. Is it?